to like specifically abide by the
Hong
rules.
Kong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not Hong Kong, China.
But yeah, they do business, a lot of business to China via Hong Kong.
No. This has nothing to do with Hong Kong. They do a lot of business in China, and China has called the. They have this thing. Their government is the Communist Party, right? So the Chinese Communist Party,
Yeah.
and the way that the government works over there, the way that all of China works, is sort of like a business. It's actually just like a business. And if you were to go up to the CEO of your business and talk shit or post a picture of them that like comparing them to like Winnie the Pooh or something, you would just get fired, right? Like you'd get removed from that business. But since it's China, you get thrown in jail. You know, it's like it's a business, but it's the whole country.
Authoritarian business.
Yeah, it's like billions of people, right? So, or at least a billion people, whatever. So that's kind of how they've been their like whole game, like the whole, you know, forever. They started doing like recently this year, they started doing this like social media ranking. So like you get a social media rank, and if you say anything bad or do anything, or you know you're kind of fuck it up, the government doesn't like, they'll lower your rank. And if it gets so low, you can't take planes. If it gets super low, you can't take trains. If it gets super low, you can't take any public transit. So it basically will cripple your whole life. And not only that, dude, it'll start to impact your family. If your brother fucks up, you could start no longer being able to take public transportation and shit. So it's crazy over there the way that they do shit. Now the other crazy part is they are, since the government controls everything, the government has a stake in every business and every like enterprise, right? A lot of the major ones called Tencent. Have you heard of Tencent?
No, what's that?
So Tencent is like a huge enterprise company, and they invest in everything. They own 5% of Reddit. They own like all of League of Legends. They probably own like 88 Rising. They basically invest in anything that's like American culture. And you know WeChat?
WeChat. No, what's that?
It's
Damn, I don't know none of this shit.
WeChat is like so you know how like Facebook and everything's like banned in China?
Yeah.
Well, they're not banned anymore because they merged with WeChat, which is basically it's 100% Tencent owned, and it's basically the communication platform in China. It's the social media.
Oh, okay, I got what you're saying.
It's like Facebook and stuff, and everything goes through WeChat. So you can't do anything bad, you can't say anything bad. Everything gets filtered through the government. Everything's on WeChat. WeChat is tied to your social media score, which is tied to your like real life score, which is, so shit's crazy, right? Over there, like it's total communist lockdown. They control everything. What's been happening recently is like more companies are getting caught kind of abiding to China's like laws. So like for example, like you know the Vans shoe store?
Yeah.
They had a contest where they were like telling people to draw like art for the shoes, and somebody drew well, let me back up a little bit. So now let's pivot to Hong Kong. What's happening in Hong Kong is they're fighting for their rights. There was a law that was passed in Hong Kong it's called like the extradition law.
Yeah, I was reading it right now.
Yeah, they can just go in and swoop up anybody at any time. So people are protesting, and they're using the law to swoop up the protesters and shit. And definitely read into that, because that's like its own thing that's like really big, and I don't know too much about it. Like I would probably say some wrong stuff, but the whole protest is they want to retract that law, and there's like 5 rules that they want. They want them to start to stop calling it riots, to denounce that it was rioting, you know, and to basically release all of the prisoners, and then to take back those laws and like pretty much clean up. Like they don't want anything less than 100%. And so that's what they're rioting over. And the Vans shoe store, they held that contest, and somebody drew like people. One of the protest like signs is umbrellas, and so like you'll see like a bunch of like people with umbrellas in like raincoats, and the masks, you know, like the surgical mask, and that's like the shit to like sign as a protester in Hong Kong. Well, one of the arts for the Vans shoe store was just a bunch of like cartoon characters with umbrellas. And it won the like contest, but the Vans shoe store removed it. And another good example is Apple. their app store, there was an app that was made to help the protesters in Hong Kong, and it was pulled from the Chinese app store. And then they also removed the Taiwanese flag because China wants Taiwan. Like, they have a huge bone. They're always fighting for Taiwan. So like they added the Taiwan flag. China said, no, remove that. Taiwan's not a country. And then China did it, or Apple did it right away. Well, when they removed the app that was helping the Hong Kong protesters, they got hella fucking backlash. And so they added the app back, but they didn't add the flag back. And that's just one. Those are just two examples. Another one that recently happened that got people really mad, it's funny, was this card. It's an online card game called Hearthstone. So it's like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon, right? But it's made by the same people who made like World of Warcraft, Blizzard. Yeah. And Blizzard own Activision too. They're merged with them, so they do Call of Duty too, right? So like, it doesn't matter if you're a gamer like you or you're a gamer like me. Like, this company, like, them because Call of Duty or like World of Warcraft, right? Like, that's two spectrums. Other than sports games, you've covered all of man gaming, right? Like, you just add in Madden and NBA 2K and FIFA, and then you've got like all the games that men play, right? Like, yeah, and then fighting games. But so this company, they basically had a pro that won a big tournament, and they given an interview, and he said, free Hong Kong, liberate Hong Kong. And then they pulled his prize money, banned him for a year, and then banned the two streamers, the broadcasters, banned them for life. And then and then they issued a thing on like the WeChat. It's called LeiChat, which is like WeChat, Chinese owned, social media. Blizzard came out and said, we would never do anything to hurt the pride of China, our country, or something like that. And so people were furious because they're like, dude, Blizzard, you're an American company. What are you doing? Like, appeasing fucking for China. And then, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. But none of that, besides the Hong Kong thing, none of that is that crazy or getting anybody riled up. But the main thing that got people really riled up is South Park came out with a new episode. It was season 2 of their new episode 2 of their new season. And in the episode, Randy Marsh is just like one of the characters in South Park. He starts a weed farm, and he goes and tries to sell the weed to China. And he goes over there, and as he's on his way over there, he meets like everyone from Disney, and like all this and everyone from the NBA and shit. And they're all like, yeah, we're on our way to China too to fucking earn some of the market. And so South Park just basically called out all of these companies, and it caused like huge controversy. And so like shit's just been escalating since then.
I get it. Like, basically all these corporations are benefiting off of China, and they're not trying to damage their relationship with the company WeChat or whatever.
They're not trying to damage their relationship with China, the whole government.
With China, period. Because they're greasing their palms, So it's like, now we can't have you saying anything bad about them, so we're gonna like shut you up, Hey, be quiet. Don't talk about China like that.
The big concern is like,
that's gang.
Yeah, it's like, we're in America and they're censoring us from saying shit about China. It's like,
now you see what it is, bro. Like, people see what it is now, bro. It's all a fucking power game. People don't even. Man, you know what I mean? I have my own theories on shit, bro. I don't want to go into, but you know what I mean? I'll just say this. It's all big fucking power game, bro. And, like, everybody is like a piece on the chessboard.
Some bullshit. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that to attention so that y'all can quit fucking with these motherfuckers and, realize what it is, really.
Hell yeah.
The last thing we want to talk about was the PG&E outage, and I just wanted to do a little spiel to let you guys know kind of what was been going on.
And first, before you go on, they claim that, there's going to be a huge wind event coming in. Nope, there was no wind. Fucking wasn't even a breeze of more than 5 miles per hour, bro. There was no fucking wind. Absolutely no wind at all. For all week, there's no wind at all the entire week, bro. Not even really a breeze. But yeah, go on.
No, yeah, I mean, with the wind thing, I don't care. That's preventative. Like, it doesn't mean that there needs to be wind today.
But they said the premise of why they were shutting off the power is there was a huge wind event coming in. That's the thing. Because that's why they said they were turning it off, is because there was a huge wind event with 40 to 50 to 60-mile-per-hour gusts. You know, like you're gonna.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they said they were gonna shut off the power in the first place.
So here's the explanation that I got off of Twitter that I think is probably the best, and I just want to summarize it just to spread the word because I feel like this isn't being spread enough. I feel like there's a lot of censorship behind it. But here's the basics. Our electric grid is owned by a profit-maximizing business called Pacific Gas and Electric if you live in California. Pacific Gas and Electric, also known as PG&E, is the country's largest electric utility and a convicted felon. All right? PG&E is presently in bankruptcy because it neglected equipment, sparked massive wildfires over 2 years. Right? This has been happening for the last 2 years. The Paradise Fire, huge tragedies. PG&E doesn't want to rack up more wildfire liability, but it also hasn't completed 2/3 of the inspections and maintenance it told a judge it needs to make the system safer. So apparently they went to court. They said we need to do blah, blah, blah. They haven't done 2/3 of it. They've only done 1/3 of it. So now that it's dry and windy, they're turning off the power for up to 2.5 million people for up to 6 days. This was largely preventable if PG&E had been trimming trees, replacing transformers, and maintaining decrepit towers.
Doing their job.
Yep, bad things blackouts do. Spoil food, cut off water, shut down highway tunnels, close businesses, cost wages, trap people who need elevators, motorized chairs, kill people, start fires. Because without power, people light candles, fire up gas generators, cook on grills, all sorts of shit. So PG&E just doesn't want to have to pay the tab for any of what I just said, just for starting wildfires. But the blackouts are ultimately PG&E's call, not the state, not the utility commission, PG&E. The Public Utility Commission does approve PG&E's plan for managing wildfire risk in general. So why is everyone so surprised? Even though PG&E planned to do something like this for over a year, they have been absolute crap at managing it and also managing communication. The official source of information on which areas will be blackout, like where we could look up if you're going to be affected by this, when you're going to get your power back on, it's been down for like 3 or 4 fucking days. It's crazy, dude. 500,000 people without power. And it's random. Like you won't have power, but your neighbors will. Like in some areas. In some areas, it's the whole city. See,
the lucky thing about where we're at, we have a private, a private utility company. The only thing that would be affected would be gas, but we have a private utility company.
Yeah.
That doesn't run off of their PG&E fucking grid.
Yep.
But yeah, dude. That's some fucking bullshit. The whole problem is they're going bankrupt, bro, and they can't afford to have another loss. So now they're scrambling at the last minute to do it. That's basically what's going on. They're just scrambling at the last. It's the same thing like that. It kind of relates almost to like the Oroville Dam, bro. Remember that shit busted a few years ago?
Yeah.
It's like the same shit. It was maintenance that was never done because they were too cheap to do it when they had the time to do it, and they had all the time. They had 30 years to do the fucking maintenance on it. And they didn't do it, and the fucking dam blew up, and damn, they're almost... If that dam blew up, it would have flooded all the Central Valley, bro. It flooded everything.
Jesus, dude.
People don't understand, like, how big of a deal. So, like, basically all the river systems in California are, like, connected in some kind of way. So if that big of a dam blew up, it would swell, like, rivers and shit all the way up, like aqueducts, because they're connected to the rivers, like... They're connected to the waterway system. It would basically back everything up, and like all the rivers would like flood and shit, bro. And it would have like flooded, like it would have flooded. It would have been really bad. It would have been really bad if that dam blew up.
Hey, but we're up on an hour and a half now, I think.
And we were dropping some jewels and talking some shit.
Yeah,
we covered Affordable Hustlers podcast versus Savage Media Post in their misrepresentation of very direct comments on a situation.
Said what he said. Yeah, said what he said. That's it.
That's what I said, bro. God
Quit
damn.
reading too into it.
Yeah, like, bro, that shows how desperate like the hip hop like media is, bro. Like that if they're going on just random people's comments, bro, You see how desperate and how they spin it, bro. Like fucking media's whack, bro.
Whack.
Whack. Well, we covered a lot of shit. Michael brought up some really good points about all the shit that's going on